16 isn't going to put bread on Ross's table, vice versa, but I think Ross understands that AJ probably owes him one, and they did run hard. This car rewards aggressive drivers.
Hey race fans, welcome into another episode of Backseat Drivers. For the two guys here at the table, my two good friends Kyle Petty from NBC Sports and our resident analyst Mamba Smith here in the backseat. I'm Alex Weaver, and we're going to talk about COTA. Austin, Texas, we kept it weird out there. We have another first-time winner for the 2022 season. First ever win for Ross Chastain. First ever win for Trackhouse Racing. A really good weekend for Justin Marks and Team Trackhouse. Pitbull got a little bit of flavor going on there. An awesome win out there on the road course at the Circuit of the Americas. But the ending, we had some drivers on the plus side. They were okay with things, and then some not so much. That last lap got a little hairy for AJ Allmendinger, Alex Bowman, and then the winner, Ross Chastain. We know how it ended with the watermelon smash. But Kyle, fair or foul? The last move on the last lap.
I say fair.
Okay.
I say fair. I would like to give a shout out to Chris Rock and Will Smith. I think they watched the ending of the race and took a little bit of that physical, took a little bit of it to the Academy Awards. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. Obviously, thanks for watching the race, guys. Thanks for watching the race. But I thought it was fair. You saw it was going to be physical. It was going to be. Listen, you've got three guys running up front, two guys really. And Ross Chastain and AJ that want it and want it bad for two totally different reasons. I think AJ's still looking for redemption in a lot of ways from where he's at, and Ross for his first win. AJ gets into him, just moves him out of the way. And then when AJ moves Ross, or when Ross moves AJ out of the way, listen, as a driver, you're just sending him off in the corner a little bit harder. He didn't spin him. He was right hooked up. He just sent him off a little fast. The 48 just happened to be collateral damage. Yeah. I will say that. So I think fair, totally fair.
Well, AJ Allmendinger said that Ross Chastain, he didn't say his name, but he has to look himself in the mirror. So the dinger, not too happy.
Which he shouldn't be.
Yeah, he shouldn't be happy.
He lost the cup race. I don't care if you lose a wheelbarrow race, you're not going to be happy about it, So, but I respect both of their positions. To Kyle's point, they have a lot on the line. Like the 16 for the one, the 16 isn't going to put bread on Ross's table, vice versa, But I think that Ross understands that AJ probably owes him one, and they did run hard. This car rewards aggressive drivers. Yeah. And that's awesome for us as fans and media to watch because they're wrestling out there. And that they did that turn one restart like 4 times, and every time Ross got a little further out there and a little further out there. AJ, if he was this much further up on the bumper of the one on one of those, because he was like, not this time, and it slipped off. So it was great though. I loved it.
Well, KP mentioned that Alex Bowman was a little bit of collateral damage there at the end too, and the strongest finish for the 48 and Bowman on a road course. So, I don't know what more he could have wanted, but apparently he had just a terrible weekend and wanted to go home to see the dogs. But his point of view, what'd you think?
Well, listen, honestly, if Chastain and AJ hadn't been going at it, he was not a factor. We wouldn't be having a conversation about it. They kept pushing each other out, which gave him an open door, which allowed him, because he had the line. He had the line, which allowed him to get into the mix. And as far as AJ's concerned, it allowed AJ to bounce off of him a little bit. That was it. Other than that, Alex's point of view is, I might win, I can win. Oh, now I'm disappointed that I didn't win.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the emotion over 2 or 3 corners. But going into that last 5, 6, 7, as the laps started, he didn't have a shot, man. He didn't have a shot. He wasn't in the game.
Did he have a shot in the truck race?
Oh, yeah, he had a shot in the truck race. He had a shot in the truck race, man. He had a shot in the truck race.
Mama, what'd you see from AB's point of view?
I think it's kind of ironic that in the truck race, it was literally reversed, right? He was the guy trying to make the move, and maybe the difference is that he didn't have the 52 wheels off the ground. Yeah. And the one, obviously, the 16, I don't think he's touched the ground yet. He's still going into the corner. So, he had there's nothing he could do. And I don't know what he's got going on, but he should feel good about his weekend.
Yeah.
He almost won for Spire in the truck race. He almost won in his cup race. So he was like I know it's almost.
Yeah.
KP hates almost.
No.
But you were there. You are
there.
That's all you can do.
And he said that he had worked really hard to become a better road racer, and he showed he was a better road racer.
Yeah.
They put themselves in position. He was a top 5 car, top 3 car, but honestly, he was not a winning car. Not a win. The only reason he was in the conversation for the win was because of what AJ and Ross were doing to each other.
Yeah.
That put him in the game.
I gotta be honest. If those two don't do that too, like if one of those get clear, he ain't making it back to the start finish line anyway.
No.
They're one of them two were like, this guy's gonna win over us. No,
not gonna happen.
No.
All right, well, Trackhouse Racing, we mentioned it. They're a force to be reckoned with this season. They've had some incredible finishes. Both Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain have showed speed over there for Trackhouse. What's the ceiling, Mamba? How far can Team Trackhouse go? It's only the second year of this team and the first time that we've seen a 2-car organization over there taking over the Chip Ganassi reins. But
I mean, I don't think you can automatically put them to the Final Four. But I think the ceiling is definitely the Elite Eight, the round of 8. Like, they can legitimately get that. I don't want to be a prisoner in the moment like we were talking before the show. But at the same time, they've been there all year long. And that's not just with one car. It's with both cars. Like, if it's not Kyle Larson racing Daniel Suarez at Fontana, I feel like he wins Fontana. So, like, I wouldn't put nothing past them, but I think the round of 8 is where they should be for sure.
Yeah. It's hard because this car is the great equalizer. It seems to be this year. So if we were talking last year, I agree. Elite 8. You make it there. But this car is just funny. As we look at it, we're seeing Trackhouse, we're seeing Colleague Racing. We saw Coy LaJoie run 5th at Atlanta. I mean, you're seeing teams.
Up front,
we're not talking about Penske, Hendrick, Gibbs. We're not talking about those organizations on a weekly basis. We're throwing these other teams in there. As you look at Trackhouse, they came a different route. They didn't do it the way everybody else has done it. When everybody was swimming this way, they were swimming this way. And it's working for them right now. It's working. How long that works, I don't know. Will everybody turn around and follow them? I don't know. But I think this will be the year that establishes them as one of those teams to contend with week in and week out. I will say that when you look back on 2022.
We talked about it earlier on other shows, like, it's so good that they're running so well because they bet on this car.
Yeah, right.
Like, they
are
bet on it.
In the sport because of the next gen.
Because of the next gen, them, Colleague, 2311, the money team, like these. So now with other people looking at the sport and be like, I kind of want to mess around here. Oh, they're winning?
Yeah.
Oh, I can come in and win right away? Okay. Go get some good people.
That's a great point.
I know that KP and I also talked about earlier before the show started. I think it was 6 or 7 laps in, we were talking about Hendrick Motorsports and the race broadcast. So parity in the sport, especially when it comes to a road course, that we don't mention Chase Elliott until 25 minutes in. I'm all here for it. Well, speaking of road course ringers, that's our next topic. I know you guys are excited about this one. Do we still have road course ringers? I know we saw AJ Allmendinger running up front. It looks like it may have been his race to beat. Austin Cindric led some laps. Do you want me to say? Do you want me to say the none?
Say who you want to say.
Chase Elliott showed up a little bit with speed towards the end when they could dial it in. But are the days of road course ringers over now that we have this next gen car? Mamba, you want to lead us off with this one?
I don't think they're over. I actually think they're probably more alive now than recently because of the parity. But you got to get with you can't just show up. You got to be with a good team, right? You got to be in a good situation. But AJ's he kind of showed us last year when he won Indy. He's still that guy.
So what's a good team? Like one of the top dogs?
No.
Okay.
I mean, not a top dog, but like a colleague, right? Like Justin Haley is a good road course racer too. I wouldn't call Justin a ringer though. AJ, I'll put more respect on his name than just being a ringer because he has like 9 total NASCAR road course wins now. But I don't think it's done. I think we'll see some other people from sports car come in.
Yeah, I agree it's not done because I just believe it never was. There's no such thing. Okay? The last road course ringer was Dan Gurney in 1967.
They talked about
Get your
that.
stat book out on that one, okay? Because here's the point. AJ can't be a road course ringer because AJ was a Cup driver at some point in time. He already passed that. You didn't just bring him in and say, hey, we're going to let him run a 1-off race or a 2-off race. That is the definition of a ringer, bringing in a specialist for a special
It's like
race.
a DH on a baseball team.
So it's not. It's not. Yeah. That's not AJ. That's not Boris Said. Boris Said run the truck series. Ron Fellows run. I mean, when you go back and look at it, but all the talk and all the BS and all the hype, there's never been a road course ringer that's won a race. Sorry, there just hadn't. Name me one. Name me one. Name me one that's won a race. When we brought in all these superstars from other series, name me one. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun,
I'm not a statistician,
no, there's
KP.
Not one. There's
I am
not
not
one.
that's not what I'm here to do.
Because there's not one. For exactly the reason that you brought up. They don't have an opportunity to drive the top level cars.
You got it.
And you nailed that right there because
got to.
that's the opportunity. Rick Hendrick, if he had brought in Juan Montoya for one race, if he had brought in, and Juan won, but he won in an established team with an established car that he was driving everywhere else. So you just don't see these guys bringing in the 24 Hours of Daytona winners and saying, 1-off, here's what we're going to do. And they don't win races. You still have the Chase Elliott's. You still have the Ross Chastains. You still have the guys that are there on a regular basis. So the road course ringer is like a unicorn. Okay? It never happened, dude. Never
But
happened.
it's got a name.
It
Yeah.
never
But it's got a
happened.
name.
It's got a name.
I will say though, this new car,
Yes.
with this new car, that really could change.
That could change. That could.
So AJ
I will give him
Allmendinger,
that.
not a ringer.
Not a ringer. Not a ringer. Dinger, not a ringer.
Never existed.
Dinger, not a ringer.
Never
Dinger, not a
existed.
ringer.
Well, time for our rapid response powered by 5-Hour Energy. These are always fun. So we saw this road course. It was the first time that we've seen the next-gen cars officially on a road course. We got some testing during the off-season and in the 2021 season, but first time official competition. So let's give a letter grade, KP, A through F.
Oh, listen, A, and if I could go farther, I would go farther.
Love it.
Because I think this car was designed for the road courses. We just happened to run it at Daytona and other places, but I think it was a shining star of that event yesterday. You talked about how tough they were. I think it was the star of the event was the car.
Yeah, definitely nice to see COTA with some sunshine as well.
Yeah.
Really first time we had seen NASCAR without rain in COTA, and we got the next gen. Rate it.
I'm with KP. I'm going AA. I mean, it was a fantastic. The fans loved it. The ones that were there at the racetrack. I was on a flight back to Charlotte, and I was watching and I'm in the first class, and they all wreck, and I'm like, what? And everyone's like, what is this guy doing, right? Because I'm watching it live. It was so awesome. The cars took a beating, and they kept rolling. That was important. The guys could lean on each other. Like, this 14 through the S's got knocked out of the way, but he didn't get wrecked, right? And listening to Tony talk about the car, you could really understand how great this thing was.
Yeah, COTA is known for just putting the drivers to work. A lot of braking zones, a lot of different gear shifts. So I enjoyed it. I give it an A+ as well. All right, well, we've already had 3 of them so far in the 2022 season. There's not a whole lot left really in the field, if you think about it. But we've had 3 first-time winners, Austin Cindric, Chase Briscoe, and now Ross Chastain in the NASCAR Cup Series. Are we going to get more, Mamba?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get more. I think. Who? Oh, you want specifics?
Yeah. Oh, I want receipts.
Listen, Tyler Reddick.
Yeah.
Tyler Reddick for sure is gonna get a win
Yes.
this year. It's coming. And honestly, I thought he was gonna win before Ross.
Yeah.
Because him on road courses, he's been good on road courses, and he was there at the end. And again, he's an aggressor, so
Yeah.
I think Tyler Reddick.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it? Just one more?
No, well, he's the first. He's my first
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
Tyler Reddick has run up front every single race. He could have won at the Coliseum when we started. I mean, that was there. So he's been in position every race. I look at the 99, and we've talked about Trackhouse. That organization has proven they can win races, and he's right there too. There's a couple of races this year that circumstances might have been a little bit different, and he could have been a little bit better than where he's at and maybe had a win, but there'll be at least 2 more, I think.
All right. You know I love hypothetical situations here. So if you only can take one car for the rest of the 2022 season and then you have to ride that car as far as it goes, Are you taking the 1 of Ross Chastain, the momentum sitting there in that camp right now with Trackhouse, the 8 of Tyler Reddick, which we've already mentioned here on today's show and pretty much on every single show that we've had this season because of his speed and how well he's been running, or the first-time winner this season, the 14 of Chase Briscoe, KP?
I'm going to take Tyler Reddick just for the hat he wore yesterday during the interview
that's
on Fox.
pretty awesome.
I mean, that's the biggest hat in the world, man.
fanning everybody,
That thing
yeah.
was this big.
It's great.
So I take Tyler Reddick, and because I think the Cup season can be a year of streaks, where somebody gets hot and then they get real cold, or they just fade. Tyler is there. And as long as you're there, you're going to get those finishes, and eventually you're going to break through. Now, will he just be there, win, and then fall off the face of the earth? I don't know, but he's not won yet, so his hot streak's coming, so I'm going to take Tyler.
All right, Reddick for KP. Who are you going with, the 1, the 8, or the 14?
I'm trying. It's really, really hard.
I know.
To not take the
This
1.
is where
It's
Mama
so,
comes in and is like, I'm going to take all 3.
I know. This is me pulling my Jeff Burton. This is me pulling my Jeff Burton. No, man. Like, I want to pick the 1 so bad, but the 14 has been good since last year. Yeah, he was coming on last year, and now this car has really come to him, and he can be aggressive like he wants to. He's great on the road courses. He's been a good pusher on the super speedways. He's good on the short tracks. Like, I feel like Stuart Haas is in the right direction now, and I would go with Briscoe.
Funny that anytime over the past 5 or 6 years we talk Stuart Haas, we talk Kevin Harvick, and now we talk Chase Briscoe. The momentum has shifted. And
which is good for that place.
Yeah, which is great
he's
for that
young,
place. It gives them a future.
And Ford can feel good because they bet on that kid, and they bet on Cindric.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Which is an interesting take, given that we've had 12 straight wins by the drivers over there that are 30 or younger. So the young club is showing up. Well, now, last but not least here on this rapid response, Ross Chastain, we know how he was going to celebrate. We knew it was coming. Eventually, when he was in victory lane, it was going to be watermelon straight to all of us in the face that are down there below recording any of that, because you just get the watermelon juice everywhere.
Yes.
So rate the watermelon smash. Mamba, we're starting with you. You want to go? Let's go 1 through 10.
I feel for our social team because I know that they get all up in there. It was I was scared. I thought he was gonna hit the car.
I did too.
He started. He's like, and he's maybe not there. Over here. I'm gonna give it a 10, man. It's his first Cup win. That thing went everywhere, and he's sitting on the interview just eating it.
I know.
I loved it.
So that's what I do. Listen, for the same reason. I thought he was going to go to the car, and that was the first
Would
inclination.
not pass inspection.
And then it was like, oh, I got to do something different. So I'm going to give him on the smash, I'm going to give him only a 5 because he just kind of threw it. After that, it was like, oh, I got to take my second choice. But let me tell you something. He ignored the 5-second rule. He picked it up off the ground and ate it. So I give him a 12 for that, man.
Yeah.
That's huge. He goes way up in my book. Eating watermelon off the ground, he's got my vote.
All right. Yeah. I mean, all the Austin germs Ross Chastain is bringing back. So definitely, I'm going to go like an 8.2.
Oh.
I liked it, but I'm like KP. You got to get like the overhead.
Yeah.
Slam it down.
Yeah, do something.
I feel like his
Spike
knees
the
were
ball,
probably
Gronk.
shaking.
Oh, I'm sure.
Once he got up there, he's like, this is a little higher. Down on the ground.
Sure, but happy birthday to Justin Marks. I know it was a great birthday gift for him that weekend too. We love seeing new teams come into the sport and have success, so we're all for it. Backseat Bets presented by BetMGM. You guys know the deal with these. These are head-to-head matchups. That's how we like it here in the backseat. So let's start with these Richmond picks for us. We are heading to short track. You want to close?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Alex
track.
Bowman versus Kyle Busch. The not so good, terrible, bad day of Alex Bowman and the great attitude of Kyle Busch, as always. KP, who are you going with on that one?
I'm going to go with Alex Bowman over Kyle Busch. Just at this point in time, Kyle just hadn't shown up yet, except on Radioactive or the radio where he's screaming about how bad his car is. It doesn't have any brakes. It doesn't have any forward bite.
doesn't have anything.
I can't turn into the garage area. I can't get in my pits. I can't get home. I can't do this. So I'm going with Alex Bowman.
Alex Bowman really backed into you picking him, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got it. All right, Alex Bowman versus Kyle Busch.
Kyle's, I think he's a little overly mad now with the 48.
Oh, he's frustrated.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, the Cup deal, okay, right? Now we're truck racing, and you send it on me like that.
Yeah.
And just take him completely out of the race. I think now this is a good place to somebody back a little bit. And I think we might see a new T-shirt and maybe a discount code that's special.
Oh yeah.
18%.
Bush 18. Yeah. Okay, this one's gonna be hard for I think. I'll pick. I'm gonna go Kyle Busch just because. Ross Chastain versus Tyler Reddick. One has the momentum, and the other one has every single week had the speed. So Richmond, just Richmond, Reddick or Chastain.
I talked to Ross and tried to get some insider information because I had a feeling this was going to come up, and he's like, "Might as well pick on us because it's week to week and no one knows until we get there." Yeah. I'm gonna go with Reddick though, because I think he's just due. The law of averages, he's got him. Yeah. Like I'm going with Reddick.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll go with Ross. I'll go with Ross just from the standpoint of momentum.
Okay.
Just momentum. I don't think about Ross being the greatest short track racer in the world.
Right.
I just don't think about it that way. But I think when you win your first race, man, this is going to carry this team and this driver for another 5 or 6 races.
For sure.
Not just for this one race. So it'll carry him for a while. So I'll go with Ross.
Okay. I am going with Tyler Reddick just because Ross will still have the watermelon hangover. All right, next up, Martin Truex Jr. versus Kyle Larson. 2 heavy hitters on this one, KP.
Okay, Larson. I'm going to go low-hanging fruit on this. The Toyotas have just not shown up yet.
True.
I'm just struggling to understand why they're not in the game consistently.
And the Gibbs Toyota
specifically. And so I'm struggling with that a little bit. So I'm going to have to go with Kyle Larson.
Okay.
I was trying to pick Kyle's brain earlier and be like, hey, what do you think about MTJ? Because he's been good at Richmond. Like, this is one of their wheelhouse races, and, like, they just have not had it this year.
Yeah.
And so for that, I'm going with Larson.
Okay. I am also going with Kyle Larson because he can win a grocery cart
So
battle.
everyone else should go.
Martin Truex Jr. will
Yeah,
win the race.
that's
Yeah,
what
exactly. Last one here for these backseat bets. Denny Hamlin versus Joey Logano. Both of these guys have some pretty strong history at Richmond. Denny Hamlin's really good there. Virginia track. But once again, Toyotas. Not been it. Mamba, lead us off.
Against my better judgment, I'm going to go with the 11 of Hamlin.
Okay.
Because even though we haven't seen it, if there's a place to get this thing turned around for that team specifically in Denny, it's got to be here,
Richmond's
right?
it,
It's like here or Martinsville. They got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw where it said Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano. It should have said Denny Hamlin versus the field. I go with the field.
That's not on here, Kyle.
But it should be.
That's not on here.
I mean, Denny's not beat anybody this year. Yeah, and so my point is, I take the field. I take anybody over Denny because he's just not beat anybody this year. So I think Richmond is the place, and we talked about it at Dover with Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
At certain racetracks, Phoenix with Kevin Harvick, where you say, man, that's their track. If they don't perform there, there's something definitely wrong. And I think that will be the telltale sign for Denny. If that team does not perform at Richmond, then you're going to look at that team and say, there's issues there. So I'm going with the field.
So Hamlin was going to be my winning pick this week. And now basically the 2 at this table have just,
I'm sorry.
for lack of a better word, poop emoji'd all over.
Yep,
I didn't do it. I still picked him. He took the field.
I didn't pick it.
So I'm going to go Hamlin. Oh, wow. That doesn't even sound
don't
good.
feel good about
I don't. I really don't like it. All right. Anyways, Richmond, we know that it is going to be a really fun time to see these next-gen cars doing a little beating and banging when it comes to Richmond. We get to see it for, is this the first short track other than the Clash?
Yeah.
All right. First short track that we've had for the points-paying season.
Yeah.
And we're heading to Richmond, Virginia for the NASCAR Cup Series. Victory Lane, there can only be one on Sunday. KP, you're the guest in here. Who you got?
You know what? I'm going to go with Alex Bowman again. Last time I was here, I picked Alex Bowman. I'm going to go with Bowman again. That's his style racetrack. I don't know why, but I look at that racetrack and, man, he's killed him up there before. Why not do it again?
What kind of win? I need to get more specific. What kind of win are we talking about?
Oh, he's going to steal it.
He's going back in.
No. You know what? He runs well enough up there to race for the win.
He does.
And listen, I told you before when we were talking about that, I said, oh, let me look. There's not a stat that says you backed into it, you stole it, it was rain short, and any of that. It just says W. That's all that matters. He's got the trophy. He's got the check. He's a Cup winner. So Richmond, he gets his second win of the year. He's our first 2-time winner this year.
KP's 2 for 2 so far this season.
Okay, well, I've had like
2
a couple
for
seconds.
2.
I've had a couple seconds.
He's batting 100 over here.
Well, I ain't scared of him. I'm going to throw it down the pipe.
Second.
I am.
Wait a minute.
Listen, look,
There's not a W beside a second. There's not a W beside a 2. There's a 1 and a W, but not a W beside a 2.
And I picked AJ last week, and he's like, so we're not even getting into it. So I'm going with Reddick. Reddick.
Good.
I like that pick.
Make me look smart, because the law of averages.
Yeah.
True.
They're fast. He's gonna get it. I thought he was gonna beat Ross to his first win. He might not. And I don't know if this still applies, but remember we used to think that Richmond and Phoenix had a lot of correlation. I feel like the tracks didn't change, even though the cars did.
Yeah.
So I hope that applies in my pick.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's got to, right?
Yeah.
So.
All right.
You're DH already, right?
Yeah, my pick is Denny Hamlin, but if he doesn't do well, then my pick is Tyler Reddick.
That's
We're going.
I love that. I wish Latar was here. He would just flaying you right now.
So yeah, you mentioned Jeff Burton earlier, so I'm taking the field.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Perfect.
No, really, I'll stick with the 11 and Denny Hamlin. If this is the time, like both mentioned, this is going to be when Joe Gibbs Racing and the Toyotas need to show up.
Sure.
All right, well, make sure and tune into the NASCAR Cup Series heading to Richmond Raceway this Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Such a pleasure with my two guys here hanging out.
Was a pleasure.
We'll see you right back here next week in the backseat. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel for more clips, highlights, and full-length episodes. Also, check out NASCAR.com to stay up to date with all the latest news.